Okay, so results. So our retreat was called the Income Explosion Retreat. And, honestly, the first name, and I think we did talk about this earlier, the first name that I had come up with for this retreat, and for those that actually, I think there's probably some of you in here that had signed up to be on the notification when we went live with it. And the first name was CEO in Flow, because ultimately my client, my dream client per se, right? My ideal client is somebody who, they are busy, right? They are a CEO, but they want more flow in the way things go. Because the thing is we didn't start our businesses to have it be hard, to have it look exactly like our corporate jobs did. In fact, we probably were wanting to get away from that, but so many of you, and I know some of you, so I know some of you are doing this or have done this. You kind of just recreate that environment. And for me, like, that definitely happened the first couple of years. I remember at one point, like, just being like, fuck this, like, no more. Like, when I had a great, like, project manager, kind of like, I wouldn't say OBM, but more of like a project manager. And she was fabulous. And she's like, okay, we need these KPIs and these SOPs and this and that. And to a point, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that there are times to have standards and everything. But it just felt the way we were going about it, and like creating all of these goal planners and SOPs, and it was just very, very much like my corporate job. And we all came from a corporate background, including my project manager, right? So, that's what we thought we were supposed to do. But for a long time, I did what I was supposed to do, and business just didn't fucking feel right to me. And the whole reason that I left was because I wanted to be able to have the flexibility and freedom to work from anywhere, whether that meant I was a digital nomad, or whether it meant I was living in the Caribbean, or whether it meant I was living in Wisconsin. But I just wanted to watch some Netflix during the day, whatever that ended up being. That's what I wanted. And that was not what I had created initially. So the CEO and flow concept kind of came from that, because they always say, right, your best client a lot of times is a version of you. And that was absolutely true for me. So, I work with women that are making, many of them multi six figures, and are very successful in their businesses, but they're not actually enjoying their business like they thought they would, or enjoying their life for that matter. They don't have the flow that they want. So purpose of that little story, that little aside, was to kind of demonstrate that was why it was CEO and flow. But, well, Mara and I actually had a little bit of pushback about that, but I'll let her tell you that on a different recording or a different day or something, or you just have a conversation with her. And we thought at the time, it's more about making money. People want money, and absolutely, like, of course, like all these CEOs that want more flow, they also want money. And that's a lot of times what they're afraid to give up is the work that they're doing, because they're afraid if they stop doing everything they're doing, that they're going to stop getting the results that they want, right? So we made it Income Explosion, which one of our attendees did in fact have an income explosion at the retreat, and I will talk about that in terms of results. But so it was the income explosion, but really when it came down to it, it was, in our attendees that were there, really it was about the CEO and flow. Because when you're in flow, when business is easy, that's when money comes. And as I said, one of our attendees actually, we did a lot of internal shifting, a lot of personal growth. And this is someone who wasn't necessarily like at a point where she thought she really needed an assistant, or she thought she had some other alternatives. And I'll tell you that actually today she hired an assistant as a result of this retreat, like a high level, like executive assistant, project manager, to help her out. And she made that internal decision last week to do it, and had the conversation today. But as soon as she made that internal decision to get the support that she actually needed, knowing that that was the way that she was going to help her to grow, to make more money, to attract higher level clients, and to give her the time that she wants, even though it was scary, because this is someone that doesn't come cheap. So it means that she may have to make more money. She may have to step things up in order to cover this, right? So there was a lot of fear there, and she made that internal decision that, no, this is how life goes. This is how business goes for me. And I am the person that's going to do this. I am going to double my income next year. Like, she's already seen it happening. And this is someone who's been a client of mine. I've actually shared a lot of her results already in some of my previous posts on Facebook. But so she made this internal decision, I think it was on Thursday, and Friday morning she pulls me aside. She's like, Lori, I just have to tell you. She's like, I woke up this morning to 3 new contracts. She's like, I wasn't even expecting them. I did no follow up, like nothing, just like 3 people in her inbox, 3 $25,000 pieces of business. So she closed $75,000 in sales. And she's an executive coach, by the way, in sales, and just while she slept, right? Like that is a fucking CEO inflow. That is an income explosion. It's both of them, right? Because that's how business should be, and that was the purpose of this retreat. So that was one result. But beyond the money, because the money comes as a result of this work, honestly. But the shifts internally, the changes that these women have experienced, the ownership of who the fuck they are, and their confidence and conviction had just like skyrocketed. They were not the same people that came into that retreat a week before. And both Mara and I too experienced some of our own shifts. But it was just such a beautiful thing to see, just everyone having this, honestly, again, Mara and I as well, this new sense of being, a new identity, stepping into your next level, because that's what this is about. Really allowing yourself to be in flow in your business, allowing it to be easy, does require you to up level everything that you're doing, who you're being, and to shift into that identity. This doesn't mean that you have to go invest $100,000 in something, but it does mean that you stop telling yourself what you can't afford, what you can't do, who you are not, what you're afraid of, because that new version of you have to talk to yourself like that person. You have to be that person in the way you think, the way you operate, in order to actually become them. So that might mean making uncomfortable decisions, like hiring someone when you don't know how you're going to necessarily pay for it yet. That might mean, making shifts in your team, letting people go, even though you don't know how you're going to do the things that they were doing, because they're not the right people for you. These are just some of the examples here. That might mean saying, you know what? I don't need to follow someone else's program, someone else's teachings. I don't need all of these things that someone else told me. I know that this is what my clients need, and going full on with what you believe, even though other people have told you, well, you can't do that, you can't say that, you need this, you need that. It's shifting marketing, it's shifting who you're being. It's literally an identity shift in who you are. when some of you have seen me posting things about, conviction, this is the kind of stuff. Like if you are, especially, this is very, very relevant for business coaches, especially, or anybody that coaches entrepreneurs. Like if you are not doing the things that you are teaching, you do not have that conviction. And a lot of times, and I'm going to say, like the women that were in this program, they weren't. And even some things Mara and I honestly recognized about ourselves, like, oh, actually we need to do that too. Like, because it's not like a one and done. It's like every cycle you go through in your business, things shift, things change, and you need to take this deeper look at yourself. And that, honestly, that's why for those that are coaches, like that's why we help people. That's how we help people. That's why we hire coaches, to get that support, to give us that reflection. And retreats is just, honestly, it's like a very accelerated coaching program. Like, honestly, I think we probably did 6 months of work in a week. It has been insane. So just really stepping into their zone of genius. A lot of you know me, and I'm really, really big on being in your zone of genius versus your zone of excellence. And a lot of you think that you're in your zone of genius, but what you're actually in is your zone of genius, because you're like, this is easy, I can do this, I can make money from it. But if you don't fucking love everything that you're doing, you need to look back and say, why am I doing this? Why am I so resistant to doing this? Why does this feel, even though it's easy, why don't I want this, et cetera, and really diving deep into these questions. And that's a lot of the work that we did to get these results. So it's just, that's just probably a fraction of it, but I'm, so excited for these women, excited for myself, for Mara. We've all up leveled massively. And I think for me too, it's also perfect timing. I have a new mastermind that starts in a couple of weeks, actually, first week in December, called Up Level, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to do this work with people in a mastermind, just like we were kind of doing at the retreat. But the people that are at the retreat, honestly, like they just get a little bit of a head start, right? So anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed this program. We may pop in more. Mara is on a call right now, but I wanted to come back because I know I had promised you that we would give you some wrap up, some reflections, and I think we'll probably have more of those together as well. And then as I said, if you have questions, feel free to post those in the group, tag us, and we will be happy to answer them throughout the rest of this week. So and that's for anybody who is here live with us as we are in Bali. This is also an evergreen program. So if you are in the evergreen program, you can post questions in the group and I will answer them in the Facebook group, but not audio in Boxer. So anyway, I hope that you all have really enjoyed this experience. We've enjoyed sharing it with you, and we will have some final, Q&A kind of stuff and a final check-in probably from Mara as well. So talk to you all soon, and have a fantastic day, night, evening, wherever you are in the world, whatever it is. Talk to you soon.